can't sleep.
New legislation
How can you tell?
similar to the Mutant Registration Act that
'Cause you're awake.
earlier this year.
Right. How about you?
Beds give me nightmares.
Oh, okay.
Yo! Welcome to another Untimely Review. It's the sequel to the movie about bald guys with mind powers and hairy men with tiny man syndrome, so I expect this to be balder, hairier, and filled with more tiny dudes. So let's just get right into the story. So, major spoilers for the movie that was recommended to me 4 months ago and that I'm just getting around to reviewing now. Sorry, pal. Wow, we get a proper Marvel intro. This wasn't in the first one. But the movie actually begins with some more narration about mutants from the freshly sheened head of Professor X. And because I already made title cards for a lot of the characters already, I'll only be doing new characters in this one, don't worry. But let's just run through them again because I like them.
Hop in, walk out, pipe up, clock out, new wrist, watch out, little bitch that's a knockout.
The key takeaway from the narration is that humans don't like to share, which is facts. There's definitely a Spider-Man thwip sound.
My bad, pimp.
And we get our title, X2. After that, we pick up at the White House during a tour and we see this mysterious guy with a tail teleporting around, jumping on walls like a spider monkey, and with him just tearing through the Secret Service, the president is being locked down in the Oval Office. We get a slow motion scene of the guy taking out every single one of the president's men, and while it looks like he's gonna stab the president, a dude on the ground shoots him, which makes him teleport away, and on the knife, we see a note saying mutant freedom now. We cut to see Wolverine, aka Logan, looking a little hairier, so that's nice to check off the list. He meets this nice wolf, and we see he's at Alkali Lake, which is where Xavier from the last movie told him is where he could get some of his memories back. Too bad that place is nothing but ruins now, so we fade into Storm taking some kids on a field trip, and luckily, she just stopped with an accent and is just using her regular voice now. We also see Cyclops and Jean are there. Jean is starting to hear other people's thoughts, and we find out that ever since the end of the first movie, she's gotten way more powerful. We see Rogue, Bobby, and technically a new guy because it's definitely not the same actor as it was in the first movie. But even though we only hear this guy's first name, I know that it's Pyro. Definitely the guy who stole your lighter, discount firebender, and a fire hazard. He sets this kid on fire because he's a psycho. Bobby puts the guy out, and then everyone but Rogue, Bobby, and Pyro freeze. Freeze like in time. I feel like I should specify that. We do have Iceman here, but he's not the one who did it. Anyway, we see that Xavier is the one who put everyone on pause, and I didn't even know he could just do that whenever he wanted to, so that's cool. Everyone finds out about the attack in the Oval Office. Xavier and the main team all talk about who they think is behind the attack, and when we pick back up with the president again, we see this bitch, Senator Kelly, but remember he's actually Mystique now. It's all very complicated if you haven't seen the first one. And we also see William Stryker, mutant racist. God loves, man uses God to sell products, and probably has a small penis. This lady cracks her fingers like this. Like she's made out of some steampunk gears or something, and we find out that Stryker is there to tell the president, who will not get a card because he's literally only in this one movie and isn't even from the comics, that he knows about Xavier's school. The president, being spineless and weak, lets Stryker raid the school. We find out that the lady whose bones are made out of celery and carrot sticks' name is Yuriko, which means she's a Lady Deathstrike. Dude, her name is Lady Deathstrike. What more do you want? She's cool. Let's move on. We see Mystique's eyes flash, which is something she's gotta get checked because they shouldn't just be doing that whenever. It feels like that's gonna really mess up her disguises, but whatever. At the school, Bobby and Rogue are flirting dumb hard, but he gets cock-blocked by Wolverine. And even though Rogue and his relationship is more fatherly and daughterly, I mean, it's Wolverine. What are you really gonna do? Bobby tries to be cool, cause he's Iceman. Logan and Jean are both flirting now, and my guy Cyclops is just watching from the sidelines. After they bicker for a sec, we pick up with Magneto reading some literature. Stryker drops some hypnosis juice on his neck and asks him to give him more information on Xavier's school and Cerebro. Back at the school, Logan goes to see Xavier. Xavier's being extra spicy today. Logan puts out his cigar on his hand, but he looks like he enjoys it a little too much. Anyway, Xavier explains Cerebro to Logan, again, I guess, for this movie's audience who didn't see the first one, and we see that he's still tracking the mysterious mutant who's attacked the president. We see that Logan came back to ask Xavier to read his mind again. He's like, nah, figure it out yourself, and that they'll talk about it more when he gets back. We see Mystique as Senator Kelly morph into Lady Deathstrike. Got a Kirk Lazarus situation going on here.
Damn.
And then when she gets into wherever she is, she morphs into her real self for some reason. Guess she just wanted her own skin to breathe. She unlocks Stryker's computer, opens up profiles on a bunch of mutants, and finds out where Magneto has been in prison. She also finds plans to build a different Cerebro, but the real Lady Deathstrike comes and cuts her research a little short. Picking up with Storm and Jean in Boston,
Give Tom Brady a hand job.
they find the guy and we finally get his name, Kurt Wagner, which means this guy is Nightcrawler. Leaves a stink wherever he goes, acrobatic, and Mystique is his mommy. He gives Storm and Jean a rundown of what happened, and he says that he doesn't even remember what they said he did. Picking back up at the school, we see Logan asleep again, and I feel like every single movie he's in there's a scene of him sleeping, but we'll see if that's true later, I guess. We see that Cyclops and Xavier went to go see Magneto, and that they went to see what Magneto knows about the attack on the president. In the conversation, we find out that Stryker's son is a mutant and that Xavier tried to help him, but not in the way that Stryker wanted him to. Xavier finds out that Magneto told Stryker everything, some gas knocks them out, Lady Deathstrike comes to fight, and she knocks out Cyclops. Back at the school, it's being raided by Stryker's forces. We get the first real Wolverine scream on camera. And he's going to work on these soldiers. We finally see Colossus, usually always hard. A gentle giant, and loves a good fastball special. While Logan's making sure all the kids get out safe, Stryker walks in and talks like he knows him, but because of Logan's memory loss, he doesn't recognize him.
Who are you people?
Bobby helps Logan get away, even though he kinda doesn't want to. We see that Stryker's forces made it into the secret part of the school. The movie reveals this guy, but I legit have no idea who bro is.
Who are you?
Logan with Rogue, Bobby, and Pyro take Cyclops' car and drive away. Some NSYNC starts playing in the car, but they don't like it and turn it off. I guess they're all Backstreet Boys fans then. I really wanted to play I Want It That Way, but I know copyright would kill me. Anyway, Logan's plan is to drive from upstate New York to Boston and just stumble upon Jean and Storm because he's not really the best plan guy. We see that Stryker's team got the door to Cerebro open. We get a Hank McCoy cameo. Mystique roofies one of Magneto's guards and injects some metal into his body. And when we pick back up with Stryker, we see that he kidnapped Xavier, also makes fun of the handy-capable, and we find out more about what happened between Stryker and his son. It's brutal, by the way. We see that Lady Deathstrike isn't working for him of her own volition. We find out that Stryker is the one who set up the attack on the president, which is nuts. And we find out that Stryker lobotomized his son and uses that part of his brain to make that hypno juice he uses on Lady Deathstrike and Magneto. Logan, with his team of child soldiers, all go to Bobby's house and is in Boston to touch base, and he almost makes PETA very upset. Back with Magneto, he senses the metal in the guard's butt cheeks that Mystique put there and takes all the iron out of his blood and uses it to break out. This movie is better than the first, based off this scene alone.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
But let's keep going. Bobby tells his parents that he's a mutant and they're handling it kinda okay. But Bobby's brother, the little shithead, calls the cops on them because he's a bigoted little prick. Logan gets into contact with Storm and Jean. When the cops get there, one shoots Logan in the head even though they don't even know who called the police, but they just love shooting first, so that makes sense. Oh yeah, sure, you could argue that Bobby's brother said something, but even when Logan says he can't put his knives down, they still shoot him in the head, so I don't know. Pyro, on the other hand, definitely tries to kill like 10 people, but Rogue takes his power away, stops some of the fires, and then by that time, Storm and Jean show up to take them home. Back with Xavier, Stryker's son, Jason, I can make a card for him, but his character just makes me sad, so nah. Anyway, he's forcing Xavier to see visions. Logan and the gang get in trouble with some fighter pilots. The jet gets shot, Rogue gets sucked out, but Kurt is able to teleport out and save her. Magneto stops the jet from crashing since he's just in the neighborhood, I guess. He tells them why Stryker raided the school and that Stryker's plan is to connect Xavier to every mutant on the planet and kill them all.
Wait, what?
Magneto tells Logan about his connection to Stryker, and Jean probes Kurt's mind since he's been to the facility that Stryker's at. Jean and Logan talk more about the relationship, and she's like, "No, I love Scott. He's the good guy who sticks around." But when Logan kisses her, she's into it for a bit, but she does stop him eventually. But oops, she goes to his tent and they get it on as much as this PG-13 movie will allow. But oops, to the second power is actually Mystique just messing with him for really no reason. On the jet ride back, Magneto says this:
"We love what you've done with your hair."
Which is genuinely the funniest thing in a superhero movie I've seen in a long time. It relates to the first movie, don't worry about it. Then back at Stryker's worst vacation home ever, we find out that Cerebro is ready for him, the X-Men are going over the game plan and send in Mystique, disguised as Logan. She gets in, finds Cerebro, and two teams break off. One to find Cerebro, and one to find the kids that Stryker kidnapped at the school, while Logan just goes off on his own to find Stryker. While Jason is making Xavier use Cerebro, Cyclops is being used by Stryker, and him and Jean fight, but in the kerfuffle, the dam's integrity is extremely weakened. Logan finds the place he was experimented on 15 years ago, and everything is the exact same, which is weird. He remembers more of what happened, and then Stryker comes to gloat more because supervillain vibes. Logan and Lady Deathstrike fight, and she is giving him the work until he fills her up with adamantium. Pause. Magneto again shows why he's a G and pulls all these guys' pins and kills them. Xavier starts killing all the mutants, but Magneto is able to stop him in time. Hold up. Magneto changes the plan so that Xavier kills all the regular people instead. Logan catches up with Stryker and gets some more cryptic info about his life before he was experimented on, but leaves him to go help his friends since the dam is about to bust. Storm and Cut teleport inside Cerebro to stop it, Magneto and Mystique take Pyro with them, and after everyone gets out of the dam, Logan takes this little boy with him to talk to Stryker instead of just handing him off to the team for some reason. A lot of some reasons in this movie, but it's okay, still love it. When he does get on the ship, it's having issues getting off the ground, so Jean walks out and stops the flood enough for the jet to take off, and it's believed that she died getting them to safety. The X-Men travel to the White House to stop a live broadcast to tell the president what Stryker did and that now isn't the time to ignite fear in the population. And the movie ends with a narration, this time from Jean. That's the same narration from the beginning of the first X-Men movie. Alright, now that the story's out of the way, what did I think? Now I understand why No Diggity thinks that this is the best X-Men movie. I disagree, but I have very strong opinions about a movie that no one likes, so that'll be a fun review. But let's get back to this one, X2. This movie is great. It starts off with a great energy that establishes so much in so little time. You see the power difference between mutants and humans, you see both sides of the conflict, and I think it maintains that energy until the end. I do think that there's a little too much time spent at Alkali Lake since we're there for like an hour, but aside from that small nitpick, the rest of the movie is amazing. There's way more action in this movie, and yeah, sure, it's not always filmed the best because you can clearly see that Wolverine didn't just flip these guys, but there's more of it, so I'll take what I can. Most of the visual effects have been cleaned up from the first movie, and since this one is longer, more characters actually have more lines than just saying, "Hi, how are you?" And that brings me to probably my second favorite part of the movie. The first is Wolverine screaming because Hugh Jackman made this a visceral feeling that I will always love, but the second best part of this movie is Brian Cox's performance as William Stryker.
That damn smile.
He is the most smug piece of shit in a movie that I've seen in a while, and I love him for it. He's what Senator Kelly was supposed to be in the first movie, but he's actually intimidating. Every scene he's in, he commands attention, and I think that even though his hatred of mutants is way more straightforward than other characters just having a fear of mutants, it's way more compelling. In fact, his relationship with mutants in general is really interesting because he hates them, but without his control of Lady Deathstrike and his son, he wouldn't have made it nearly as far in his plan. His reasoning for wanting to kill mutants is not really understandable, but because he feels like his son being a mutant caused his family to implode, and because he's a hateful bigot, he doesn't understand that it was his response to his son being a mutant that caused Jason to hate him. I really like this adaptation of the character way more than the comic version because I'm sick of televangelists, so maybe that's why I'm just more drawn to this version of the character. Like I said before, all of the major X-Men get more screen time and expansions on the characters, and I think again, everyone's performance is great. I wish that Pyro joining Magneto was more fleshed out because I did not care about him at all, but aside from that, again, everything's pretty great. There's really not much more for me to even say. All the positives from the first movie are still here, and some of them are even improved on, like the addition of more action. This is exactly how I think a sequel should be. More escalation, more backstory, and solid progression of the characters. I definitely think that this movie is worth watching, and I can't wait to see how the trilogy ends. Oh no. But let me know what you think. Was the review as saucy as Magneto's been, or was it as dull as Senator Kelly's love life? Let me know in the comment section below, mayhaps like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.